CQ. Welcome to the Cape Coral Gabfest. My name is John, and my call sign is November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel. I'll be your host this evening, this first Thursday of March, for the Cape Coral Gabfest. We meet on 146.190 Simplex at 8 p.m. every Thursday, and welcome any and all ham radio operators to join us. After check-in, we go through 2 rounds of comments, so please remember to stick around for the second pass. As always, you may discuss anything you like, but our topic tonight is, what are you passionate about in the hobby of ham radio? So let's see who we've got this evening. This is November, Juliet Delta Hotel, and again, my name is John, and I'm calling for check-ins to the Cape Coral Gabfest. Please come now.
04 EFS, Ian in North Fort Myers.
Net control. KB4AR, Angelo, North Fort Myers.
W8 KZT, Rick.
Juliet Whiskey, Cape Coral.
Kilo 4, Romeo Alpha Bravo, Rick in Fort Myers.
AA4JS, John.
KI4 GED, Charles.
Net Control has Whiskey 6, Whiskey. There was a double over Whiskey. And also we have W4 EJW Ed, K4 Robert Alpha Bravo, Rich, AA4 JS John, and Kilo India 4 Golf Echo Delta Charles. Is there anybody I've missed? Please come now.
I think you missed Angelo and Ian. This is W8 KZT, Rick.
Okay, so I have Whiskey 6, Whiskey, and did you double with Whiskey 8, Kilo Juliet, Zebra, man, I'm messing up, Zebra Tango?
No, this is Whiskey 8, King Zebra Tango here.
Roger. There was somebody that doubled with Whiskey 6, Whiskey, and then there was one station that would probably need a relay. Go ahead.
I think it was I as you missed.
Okay, I'm going to need his call sign, AA4JS.
Ian is KO4 EFS.
Kilo Oscar 4 Echo Foxtrot Sierra, and that's Ian?
That's correct. Did you also get Angelo?
Negative. I've got him a little out of order here, guys, so go with Angelo.
Okay, it's KB4, that's Kilo Bravo 4, Osco Romeo. I'm sorry, Angelo Romeo. So it's KB4AR.
Kilo Bravo 4 Alpha Romeo, and that's Angelo.
Roger that. I think there was one other one that was doubled with Angelo.
Okay, I have Whiskey 6, Whiskey 8, Kilo Zulu Tango, Whiskey 4, Echo Juliet Whiskey, Kilo 4, Romeo Alpha Bravo, Alpha 4, Juliet Sierra, Kilo India 4, Golf Echo Delta. Did I miss anybody?
Kilowatt Alpha 9, Tango, Quebec, Charlie.
Kilowatt Alpha 9, Tango, Quebec, Charlie. Can I get a name, please, sir?
Absolutely. Name is Jack, and I'm in the Southeast Cape.
Copy that. Did I miss anybody else?
Did you get Charles in there?
Kilo India 4, Golf Echo.
Okay, roger that.
Okay. So we'll start off, and I'm going to have to apologize to Whiskey 6, Whiskey. I don't remember your first name. So could you please give that to me now? That's what I thought. And also, Whiskey 8, Kilo Zulu Tango.
Yeah, this is Rick. Romeo India, Charlie Kilowatt.
Roger. The topic, what are you passionate about in the hobby of ham radio? And with that, we'll start off with our first operator, and that'll be Whiskey 6, Whiskey. Tim, go ahead. Whiskey. Real quickly, can you tell us what your farthest QSO is on DX distance-wise? Control, November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel. That's interesting. You know, I've gotten Australia. I haven't gotten anything yet down to Africa. But anyway, maybe on round 2, you can tell us a little bit about your HF radio and your antenna and what you use. And with that, next up will be Whiskey 8, Kilo Zulu Tango. Rick, it's up to you.
Roger that, John. Got another gentleman that I'm going to have you sign in, and it's Tim also, and he is in Fort Myers also, over by the International Airport. And Tim's call, let me see, W4BTJ. I don't know why I can't never remember that. W4BTJ, and he'll be tagging along right at the end at this point. So we'll do that. My favorite part of this and what keeps me interested in is also the DX part of it, just like Tim mentioned, and the phone and doing the phone operations in the DX. And the furthest one I think I've had right now is Japan. If you look at the azimuth map, that appears from here as the crow flies about the same as it is to Australia. If I'm looking at it right now, I got a big, huge azimuth map on my wall here, and it's pretty far over there. Actually, if you look at just looking at where I'm sitting here, it looks way further than even Australia. So, but that was one of my favorite contacts there. I've also done some part of Russia, which basically is just over the North Pole, just about not directly north, but just a hair northwest if you point the beam and go right over the pole. That's how that works, and do that quite often. So we've had Slovenia and all of that. That's directly north over the pole, or not? Yeah, just slightly east of the pole and going over. But love doing that. Love talking to people. I think it's a thing that mostly intrigued me back even in the 60s when I got interested in radio. So I'll be listening, and anything that can come up that maybe John doesn't hear or someone else doesn't hear, please let me know. This is W8 KZT, and back to you there, John.
Thank you, W8 KZT. Appreciate that. Appreciate that you're going to do relay if necessary. Now, when you do your DX, are you doing POTA, or is it just like DX contesting like AARL, or are you just doing it as a hobby that you just keep a log on your own? Back to you.
Well, it always has been. It's just been a hobby for me, and I don't do any contesting. I do get in and make contacts for other people that are contesting, but I don't do that, and it doesn't impress me at all to do any contesting. Seems like it takes a lot of time just to do it, for one thing, and I don't want to take that kind of time to do it. But to me, just making contacts with just a signal report, I don't think it's not that interesting, but it happens a lot to me when I'm making contacts, and I wish people just would talk. So that's the way I do it. W8KZT, back to you there.
Thank you, W8KZT. This is November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel Net Control. No, I appreciate that. I just like to break this down. Now, remember, everybody, this is an open topic also, and I'm just suggesting that, as a suggestion, what are you passionate about in the hobby of ham radio? So we're not exclusively focusing on DX, we're focusing on the whole hobby. So I just don't want people to feel left out should they not enjoy doing DX, or it's whatever you enjoy in the hobby of ham radio. Now, as we move forward, we have Whiskey 4, Echo Juliet Whiskey. Ed, you have the mic. Whiskey 4, Echo Juliet Whiskey, do you copy? Whiskey 8 Kilo KZT, do you copy?
Nothing heard on this end.
Whiskey 4, Echo Juliet Whiskey, Ed, do you copy? Well, we'll move on. I'll pick them up at the end of this round. K4RAB, Rick, go ahead. What are your interests in ham radio?
Well, this is K4RAB. Well, I've been in the ham radio quite a while. So I was started with FM and repeaters. I'm still interested in that, but I also got into QRP in the late 1990s. Introduced to it up there, and I like to play with that. I got interested in CW. I got interested in all kinds of things. So if it's technical and that kind of thing, I'll get interested in it. But I enjoy the contesting, the CW contests especially. They seem to be, I don't know, to me, it's a little, it can be crazy, but it's just not as crazy as a voice contest. But anyway, but I enjoy it, and so that's the big thing. If I can operate a contest or two, I also like state QSO parties. And I know there's some big weekends with those coming up. So between the contests and the state QSO parties, and of course a left field day, that's one of my favorites. So, and then I get to go out and take a radio and go operate with a lot of people. So anyway, yes, that's the big thing for me. Like I said, I've been in it quite a while, so it's been a fun ride since around 1975. So I enjoy the hobby, still do immensely, and look forward to the thing. Also gotten into Aries, so I get a lot of things. Anyway, so I'm going to send it back to you. This is K4RAB.
K4RAB, this is Net Control, November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel. 2 questions. Explain the difference between the state QSO party and how, I understand DX and all that, but is it a competition or what? Is it only contacts within the state of Florida? Go ahead and explain that for us.
Okay, a state QSO party. Well, let's take nearby Georgia as an example, the one I'm most familiar with since I lived up there for 30-some years. Of course, the idea of the in-state is to contact as many people outside the state as you can, and for the operator outside the state, like here in Florida or anywhere else, it would be to contact as many of the people in all of the different counties as you can. So the idea is, like Georgia has 159 counties, if you can believe that. So the idea is to try to make one contact in each of those counties. It's almost never done, although they have rovers which run around from county to county. So state QSO parties are a little different animal from your general contest, but they're still a lot of fun. K4RAB.
Very interesting. I know like how many counties there are in Florida and all that. That's just a very interesting concept. Something that I might be interested in doing. I'm also interested in learning CW, but that's another topic. But I thank you, K4RAB. Appreciate that. Next up will be AA4JS. John, go ahead.
Well, good evening, everybody. I got to tell you, you've caught me off guard. There are so many different things that I've tried and played with, and it would hard to say what is my favorite. A couple of you mentioned getting on contests, and like this past weekend. My gosh, that was fun. All these foreign guys that were looking for everything, and I was working them and just going all up through them, and that was so much fun. It's been a while since I've done hours for all pages of foreign guys. That was so much fun. obviously, I can't go out right now and do POTA things out, but I've sure had a great time sitting here in my office, chasing guys and working these guys. Things like going out to a public thing and doing a show to lost people, to show people who don't know much about this, especially newer hams coming in that want to see more. I enjoy the devil out of that. There's just so much of this that I like. It would hard to say this is my favorite thing. I just don't know. So there you go. Back to you from AA4JS.
AA4JS, November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel, net control. John, I know last week was that AARL QSO party, or QSO competition. Competition is probably a better choice of words. I know you spent some time in your shack doing that. Now, during that QSO competition for AARL, what was your longest contact, and in all your years of doing POTA, what has been your longest contact? Back to AA4JS.
Well, I don't have my list upline on the radio or on the computer right now, so I couldn't tell you what last weekend is. But I have worked Japan. I have worked. We were just talking about it. I have pretty much the entire world. Australia, New Zealand. I have done New Zealand a few times, which might be a little further than Australia. I've done Japan, which is a pretty long, or pretty far thing. Depending on what direction your signal goes, nothing ever works straight when you're going around the round Earth. So it would be hard to say what is actually my longest contract. Back to you from AA4JS.
Yeah, I appreciate that, AA4JS. I'm just curious. I mean, I'm struggling to find Africa, and I'm struggling to find Alaska. So I'm just hopeful that one day I'll get one or both of those. But anyway, next up will be KI4 GED. Charles, you've got the mic.
Well, thank you, John, and thank you for taking the net, doing a good job there. Appreciate that. See, I couldn't hear Ed at all, and I'm not sure of the others right now. But I haven't done DX in a long time. I was doing the Traders Net, Florida Traders Net, but that's just Florida and South Georgia mostly on 75 meters. But I've got too much noise on the signal here. Don't have a good antenna for HF right now. Just got a 75 meter inverted V. So I haven't done much. And John, AA4JS sounding good. Glad you're feeling better for sure there. So I can't say too much. I did have 10 meters one night we did on the windmill net. I did talk to Australia and to Hawaii one night, 10 meters. That's been a while back too, and that was on a vertical, which I don't have up now because it got old and tired, and the storm took care of part of that too. So I don't have too much else. It's good hearing everybody, and I'll be listening to see what's going on for the rest of the contacts. So I'll send it back to you, John. N6JDH, this is KI4GED.
KI4GED, N6JDH. Do you do CW, Charles, out of curiosity? Back to you.
No, I'm one of the no-code hams. I got my license in 2004, I think it was, so It was after they dropped the code, and that was when I retired too. So no, I do not do CW. I'd like to, but I just don't take the time and keep busy with a lot of stuff here. So I just hard to keep up with everything. This is KI4GZ.
Hey, appreciate that. Appreciate that, and I guess I'm even newer than that if you add 20 years to that. So I definitely have no CW experience, even though it's starting to become maybe a possibility for me. But moving on, we have KO4 EFF. Ian, mic is yours.
KO4 EFS. Yeah, good to hear everybody. We are live on YouTube as well, as always. And my passion in ham radio is getting people involved in ham radio. It's the one thing that people in ham radio seem to always put on the back burner. And a lot of the falling out I had with the club here locally was the fact that they were just completely not interested in doing anything to get new people into ham radio. And you got the ARRL and everybody else, and nothing seems to be getting done. Everybody keeps coming up with all these new fancy websites and all these new buttons you can click and everything, but that's not getting ham radio in front of young people, college, high school age people, and the clubs aren't doing it anymore. There's really nothing going on, and so I've kind of just went out on my own here, and that's why this net is being broadcast on YouTube right now, because I'm hoping to put it in front of somebody's face that was going to watch this and say, hey, what's this all about? What's radio? I'm listening to people on the radio. What's that all about? And so that's my passion. My number one passion is to get young people involved, and we're putting together a wide area network that's going to be on 4 different bands and on 4 different internet networks as well. And we're going to be catering it to the younger crowd. Free speech, no policing, and we're trying to put something out that 15, 18, 20-year-olds would want something to do with, and not all the rules and everything you get on the regular ham band. So we're trying our best. I mean, we really want to get the youth involved, and I've got my grandchild taking his test, and I'm just doing everything I can to get the youth involved because I just think it's that important. So I'll pass it to the next round. It's good to hear everybody, and that's my passion, is getting young people involved in this hobby before the rest of us pass away and it's gone forever. KO4 EFS.
KO4 EFS, Net Control, November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel. Ian, are you able to monitor or visually see who is watching this live? And then if so, generally a week after the broadcast is uploaded to YouTube, how many views are we getting? Back to you.
Right now we have 12 consecutive live viewers on there. My friend Victor's in there. We've got my wife's in there. There's a few other folks in there that are chatting in the chat room. I was answering questions a few minutes ago in there about ham licenses and vanity licenses and stuff like that. And then, I don't know, I'm one of those people that I hate to go out on a limb without the numbers right in front of me, but I'm sitting here actually looking at these numbers right now. Give me just 1 second here. Live numbers for 40, 60 views, 100 views. There's one net here, the Sunshine Net, one morning. I got 280 views on that one. So it's doing pretty good. I mean, if each one of these just interests one person, I'll be happy, you know. I just, we've got to find a way to get this to keep going.
I agree with you. I mean, it's the youth that are our future, whether it be in politics or whether it be in our hobbies, or anything. And it's admirable that you've undertaken this monumental task. And I think everybody in ham radio should be a mentor, should be an ambassador to the hobby, because in all seriousness, I took the test and I didn't have any knowledge, and there have been a great deal of people in the club that have helped me get to the point where I am now. And KO4 EFS, I commend you for what you've done. And then we'll move on to KB4 AR. Angelo, the mic is yours.
Oh, good evening, everybody. Good evening to the net. KB4AR, Angelo. Boy, I can hardly hear net control. In fact, that's the first time I've heard him tonight. So I may need a relay going forward. Anyway, hope everybody's having a good night. Haven't been here in a few weeks for various reasons. But anyways, I believe the question is, what's my favorite part of ham radio? Well, this is it right here. Talking to people. I really love getting on HF. I took a 20-year hiatus from the hobby. I originally got licensed in 1999, and then Santa Ana winds in Southern California blew my antenna down, and that was the end of that for 20 years. So I've been back in the hobby about since 2022, and so far I've got 98 countries, 1,700 contacts, and furthest I've talked since I've heard that, I got 4: Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. Those are probably within a few hundred miles of each, if you put it on a map. So all that with a 25-foot vertical mount antenna at 100 watts. So a lot of fun, and I really enjoy that. So I'll put it back to net, KB4AR.
WAKZT, can you do a little fill-in there? I was unable to hear Angelo there.
Yep, no problem. He's having the same issue with you also, John. But Angelo was just saying that he's been doing a lot of his contacts on, he likes HF and talking to people. And he said at one time he had a 20-year hiatus when he was out in California. He said, since getting back in, he's worked 98 countries, Japan, New Zealand, South Africa, and now I think he said he had a 25-foot vertical he's running on now, so that would be his HF antenna. And also he works here, of course, on the UHF, or VHF. So that's where he stands right now, and hopefully that's enough info. Is that good there for Angelo? Anything else you want to add there? Go ahead.
Ask Angelo if he does CW, and ask him what his longest DX station it has been, if he knows off the top of his head. Go ahead, W8KZT.
Okay, Angelo, he's asking, do you do CW? And also, what is your longest contact? Was it Japan or New Zealand or what? Come back.
No, I don't do CW, although when I first originally got licensed back then, they had a Technician Plus. So I did pass a 5-word per minute test, but I haven't done it since. And my furthest contact, like I said, I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but it's either South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, or Japan. It's one of those 4. Back to net.
Roger that there, Angelo. Thank you. He said, no, he doesn't do CW now, but he said when he got his license, he was able to get the 5 words per minute, and hasn't really pursued it any further than that. And as I said before, Japan, New Zealand, and South Africa have been his longest contacts. So back to you, John. This is W8KZT with the relay.
Angelo's ahead of the game on me if he's gotten South Africa, and I commend him for that. I'm still trying. Can you relay that, please?
Absolutely. Angelo, he says he commends you for getting South Africa, and he's certainly working at trying to get that.
Well, thank you very much.
Roger that there, John.
Okay, moving on. I believe it's KD9 TQC. Jack, you've got the mic.
Okay, thank you, and good evening, everybody. Kilowatt Alpha 9, Tango, Quebec, Charlie. Jack, Southeast Cape, and I've heard about this Gabfest, and I have never thought to tune in. I do most of my hamming in the morning and often not in the evening. So very much enjoying listening to all the perspectives. My favorite aspect is sort of an outlier, I guess, but I really like FT8, and I like operating maritime mobile from the sailboat when we're actually out and about. But right now, as I've been listening to the net and able to concentrate on the audio here on 2 meters, I've worked Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Oman. All the 20 meters is pretty hot right to the Arabian Peninsula right now. Now, many people think FT8 isn't real ham radio, and that's certainly a perspective that some people share, but I actually really enjoy it. And I also like operating weak signal propagation. I've worked Antarctica on 2.5 watts, but those are very long digital transmissions that you really can't even hear the audio, but it's kind of cool that you can go those long distances on such low power. So I won't hold it. I know a couple stations were pretty tough copy for me, but many of you are absolutely full quieting here. So anyway, I'm just glad to be a part of the group and find the conversation interesting. I think the guy who's putting this on YouTube and trying to appeal to youth is fantastic. I would say my favorite aspect is probably All-Star and Linux programming. Tomorrow's my 74th birthday, but I'm a computer geek at heart. So back to net control. Kilowatt Alpha 9, Tango, Quebec, Charlie.
Kilowatt Alpha 9, Tango, Quebec, Charlie. Happy day before your birthday. If you want us to all call you tomorrow at 5 a.m., just leave us your phone number, and we'll get up early and call you at 5 a.m. When you were working 20 meters while you were monitoring here for Qatar and Saudi Arabia and that, verification or clarification, you were doing FT8 while doing that, correct?
Yes, that is correct. And I have the audio all turned down, so there's nothing to listen to. But between that and PSK Reporter, you can see where your signal's appearing around the world. And those are actually 2 new countries for me. So I'm kind of amazed that this happened to happen right now on 20 meters. But as I'm looking at the S meter on the 7300, the FT8 signal is coming in at 20 over. So band must be pretty good.
Roger that. FT8 is something that's on my list to learn, but I've got other things I want to learn, and right now I'm enjoying POTA, but I appreciate that. I appreciate hearing everything that people are interested in, and at one point in time I criticized this net because it was simplex, but instead of leaving the net, I decided, okay, what can I do on my home front to make it better? I wasn't hearing people. It was getting frustrating. And so I ended up raising my mast, raising my antenna, and I had a mentor who, I'm not afraid to say it was AA4JS, basically told me, listen, when the repeaters go down, it's the simplex that's going to keep us going. And that was all it took to make me realize that I had to do more. So with that, I'm going to hand the mic over to W4 BTJ, and this is Net Control, November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel. Tim, you've got the mic.
Yeah, very good there, John. Good evening to everybody. Thank you for allowing me to participate in the net. And just now getting my, 196th country on FT8, and Kazakhstan or in Central Asia, a suburb of Russia. And he just replied to me. I'm really amazed, my extra country. But at this time, I've got on phone 216 countries. I got my license in 22, and I now have 12,106
Still transmitting.
phone contacts in 216 countries, and really happy about that. It's been really fun, and I got into FT8. I suffered Bell's palsy disease where I wasn't for a condition where I wasn't able to speak, and it had me pretty messed up. So a friend of mine explained to me how he walked me through getting on FT8, and I've really had a great time with it. But as far as long distance contacts, phone, my longest contact was a little over 12,000 miles to Antarctica, to the southwest of Australia, on the Antarctic continent, to the Russian outpost there in Antarctica. So that's, I think that was a pretty good contact when I was talking on my FTDX10 and in-fed wire, not even on a beam. So I'll turn it back over to you, Control. This BW4BTJ listening and return to control.
Okay, Tim, this is W8KZT doing the relay to John. And John, what Tim was coming across with is he's got, he said also good evening to everybody, and he was happy to be on and glad to be talking to everybody. So he's got 196 countries on FT8. He's also contacted that way to a suburb of Russia that way. He's got a 216 phone contacts. He also has had an issue with Bell's palsy, which left him unable to speak, and that's what got him into FT8. So he's done a tremendous amount of contacts on FT8, and probably way more than I originally counted here. But also, he's done a lot on with his FTDX10 and a long wire. Totally, his longest distance contact was about 12,000 miles in Antarctica, which was southwest of Australia at the time. So that's a pretty good jaunt there for him. So as I go any further there, Tim, is there anything else that I missed there? Go ahead.
No, Rick. Yeah, thank you for relaying it to John. I'm barely hearing John. I don't know if he can hear me at all from here at the International Airport. But, John, thank you very much for being control tonight if you can hear me. With that, I'll return to control, and thank you again, Rick, for the relay. W4BTJ. Oh, and by the way there, Jack, I saw you in there. And I hope you get in there and you catch this guy in Kazakhstan, EX2G.
Okay, what he was saying, no, he's not, John's not getting you, and I don't know if Jack was receiving you or not there, but what he is doing, he's saying, thanks for everything, and also there's a guy, EX2G on FT8, and Jackie said Tim could see you in there on the FT8, so you may want to try that guy, EX2G. So maybe that'll help. Is that affirmative there, Jack? Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. I had a good copy on him from the airport. I'm actually heading there. My daughter's arriving at sometime after midnight tonight, so I'll be heading out there also. But fine business on Kazakhstan, and I'm looking for it right now. So thank you. Super. Did you catch that, Tim?
Oh yes. I've talked to Jack there a few times before, and I hope you're able to catch him there, Jack. Good luck, W4BTJ.
Okay, well, we've got everything cleared up there and going well, and I'm sure you guys all heard that Jack's on his way to the airport this evening around midnight. Pick up some family members there. So, okay, we'll turn it back over to Net Control. This is W8KZT with the relay.
Hey, thank you, W8KZT, for the relay, and I thank Tim, W4BTJ, for his comments and input in tonight's net. And then I got a text from W4EJW. He was on the phone when I first called him, and he's going to be up next. So Whiskey 4 Echo Juliet Whiskey. Ed, you've got the mic.
Thank you, N6 JDH, Net Control. This is Whiskey 4 Echo Juliet Whiskey. Luckily tonight I can hear everyone. Some nights, some weeks I don't, but it seems to be really good. It must be dry air out there. Recently, and I should say for a while now, my passion has been digital. And I spend my time exploring that aspect of amateur radio. The longest contact on HF, which I do not do HF very often, but my longest contact was Argentina. I'm sorry I missed the rotation. I did have to pick up a phone call, and I'll say 73 after this rotation, and I will be monitoring. So I'll give it back to Net Control. John, it's good to hear you on the radio. This is Whiskey 4 Echo Juliet Whiskey. Back to Net.
Whiskey 4 Echo Juliet Whiskey. Ed, I appreciate your input tonight. Sort of surprised that you can hear him and I can't. Ed and I are separated probably by no more than a mile as the crow would fly, but I'm having difficulty picking up some of the other stations. But Ed, I appreciate your input tonight, and I'll probably still call you, or if you want to jump in on round 2, please feel free to. But appreciate your input. With that, are there any late check-ins, rechecks, or anyone that wants to add anything to round 1? Please come now.
This is Whiskey 4 Echo Juliet Whiskey for a quick comment.
Go ahead, Whiskey 4 Echo Juliet Whiskey.
Can those stations like Angelo and Tim, can they hear me? Because I am hearing them. Back to Net.
Let's find out. Angelo, Tim, can you hear Whiskey 4 Echo Juliet Whiskey, Ed?
Whiskey 4 Echo, I think it was. I'm sorry, I didn't get your complete call sign. But yes, I do have a good copy on you. You're full quieting here.
Yes, KB4AR. Yeah, you're full quieting here too.
W8KZT, I'm going to need a relay.
Yeah, both of them got Ed just fine.
And I'm not hearing them. It's a difference of about a mile, maybe as the crow flies, so I must be right on the fringe. Anyway, I wish I could hear them, but Ed, did you copy that?
Yes, John, I did. I could hear both of them. Did you move anything recently in the last week?
Not that I know of. I just checked my radio, and I'm at 100 watts on the radio, and I haven't been able to hear them. Where are they? Are they on the east side of 75 W8KZT? Could you let me know?
Yeah, I think Ian is in East Fort Myers, and Tim is down by International Airport down there.
Well, I can hear bits and pieces of what they say. I can tell they're transmitting, but I cannot understand them.
Okay, I said Ian, I meant Angelo. But yeah, that's where they're located.
Okay, I appreciate that. Appreciate the relay. Again, are there any late check-ins, rechecks, or anyone that wants to add anything to round 1? Come now. Okay, this is Net Control, November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel. We'll be going back to the top of the list. This can be open. You can talk about your DX antenna. You can talk about what you've done this week, and it's open to whatever anybody wants to talk about. So with that, Whiskey 6, Whiskey, Whiskey, Whiskey. Tim, you have the microphone. 6 Triple Whiskey, net control, November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel. Hey, Tim, what HF antenna are you using and what HF radio are you using? Go ahead.
I don't know what's going on, guys. For those of you listening, it's been dead air now for about 6 or 7 minutes. So
thank you, Tim. Whiskey
oh, wait, hold on. Somebody's come back. I was just getting ready to shut it down. Hold on.
And the visual into your ham shack and what you use for HF communications as far as an antenna, and for your sort of explanation and thought processes of how to pursue the Florida QSO party. And I appreciate that. And, this is the first time that I've ever heard of the Florida QSO party, so I know there might be one or two other people on here that have never heard of it. I'm going to look into it. But moving on, we're going to move on to W8KZT. Rick, you've got the microphone.
Excuse me. Well, good evening, and it's been great listening to everybody, and got quite a crowd this evening, and it's good to hear everyone. Second round, I've got some information. I don't know if there's anybody who might be looking for a job, but I got something in the mail the other day from Amazon, and they're hiring starting at $22 an hour, just for regular entry-level people and whatever. So some people that may have a lot more experience in some of the operations that they do may be able to cash in pretty good there. The other thing is, I want to say happy birthday to Jack, and I do want to say, because I talk to Tim occasionally, and he's big into FT8, and you guys, I find FT8 amazing, and I think even John Scarborough does that too, and he does FT8. I find it amazing because there's such unbelievable capabilities as far as distance-wise with very low power. So it's really a cool thing. Well, let's see. Also, Ian, last week we were discussing this Bofang unit that you had got, and you were going to do some testing on it, and I was hoping that maybe you had some interesting results that you could share with us today. So if you're still listening, I hope you have that available. Next thing, I believe, and I may be wrong, but I believe the first swap shop of this month is coming up this Saturday. So everybody should be getting over there to the swap shop there on Poetry Lane in North Fort Myers, and be good to see everybody there, and hopefully I will make it there this time. I think that's it for right now. If anything comes up at the end of the round, I'll tune in then. And thanks for everybody being in this evening. It's great to hear you all. This is W8KZT. Back to you, John.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you for the calendar of events also. And I made a note down when we get to Ian to ask him about the Bofang update. So we'll get that covered here in this round. And moving on, we have K4 RAB. Rich, you've got the mic, sir.
Okay, this is K4RAB. I'm trying to make it to another net too. It's just coming on. Anyway, not much new here. One of the things I would like to learn about FT8 is how the receive technology works, because it's quite interesting. It can get in under the noise and is able to decode the signal and do that as well as it does. I would be curious to delve into the source code for that and try to understand how all that works, because it's certainly a different thing. Maybe it could be made to work for other modes as well. But anyway, can't think much else. Glad you announced the swap meet coming up Saturday. Planning on being there. Hope to see everybody there. So can't think of much else. I was looking at the calendar. We've got some QSO parties coming up this month, but not some of the ones I'm more familiar with. But that doesn't mean anything. I'll jump into one of them like that, just see what I can do. But anyway, can't think of much else at the moment, so I'm going to pass it on, and I will be listening off and on. I got another net I'm going to try to make, so this is K4REB, back to net.
Thank you, K4RAB, and I understand. I mean, I'm looking at the clock too, and we've already gone over an hour, which is fine by me. And I really don't know what generally this net runs, but I mean, I've kept notes here and about new things that I've learned, and and I appreciate everybody on the net, and I appreciate K4RAB also, and I understand that you have another net. Moving forward. Alpha 4, Juliet, Sierra, John, you've got the microphone, sir.
Okay, well, thank you. And I decided to talk about something. There are a couple of you that know about this, but I don't think I've talked about this in a long time. So I'm going to run through some history, if you will. I've been a ham for 23 years, but a long portion of that, the first part of it, I was a technician. It was several years, in fact, more than 10, that I finally decided to get into the higher part. And at that time, I was still traveling for my work. So I was working outside of Washington, D.C., in Maryland, and I actually went and took my upgrade in Landover Hills, Maryland, if any of you know that area. I went to the fire department on a Sunday afternoon and took the tests and upgraded and all that. And so for about 3 years, as I was still doing traveling to different places, I did a lot of this out of my the RV that I took with me and stayed in. Most places I stayed any place from 3 to 6 weeks or 6 months in places I was working. So a lot of my first RF was from places other than here, including Texas, Maryland. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think where else. Of course, Maryland, that area. I actually did that for about 4 years before I changed my job and came home and have lived here now. But, I've worked, I think I've worked RF from like 5 different states when I was living or staying there anyway. And so I know a lot of you probably didn't know that part of my story, but that's... Oops, I think I turned my radio off. Anyway, doing those different states and different places, working from there, was a whole lot of faith. Of course, once I took the job here, I do it mostly from here. Although when I go on a vacation, which generally, if I go on a vacation, that's going to Indiana, and the last couple of trips I've made to Indiana, I have tried to make a POTA in each state that I've gone through, and that's been a lot of fun as well. Anyway, enough of that. Just a kind of a quick over 73, everybody, and I'll listen out. Back to you, John.
Thank you, John, AA4JS. Thank you for that, and I know that as I look forward to my travels, I look forward to also doing POTA in each state that I go through. But well, moving forward, we have KI4, GED, Charles. You have the microphone, sir.
Okay. Good evening again, everyone on the net, and well, happy birthday tomorrow to Jack. I don't have too much else to add, and we're looking for a volunteer for next week for the Cape Coral Gabfest. John, you're doing a great job there. Long net, but it's interesting, keeping everything going. There's a lot of questions, and that's what it's all about. So I want to thank you again for that. So that's it. The other swap shop is this coming Saturday, which is the 8th, March 8th. Two of this month, the 8th and the 22nd, the 2nd and the 4th Saturday of the month. Okay, well, I'll say 7-3 and turn it back to you. Let's see. N6 JDH. This is KI4 GED. Good night.
KI4 GED and W8KZT. Let me know who was going to step up next week. Do you have the list? Back to either one of you two.
I don't have a list in front of me. I had 5 volunteers there, so let's see. Maybe Rick or Ian. I'm not sure about next week, but appreciate whoever wants to do it. It's good experience. It's open net. It's very easy to do. We don't worry about mistakes or anything like that. So as of now, I don't have any volunteers. So we'll see what happens. So N6 JDH. This is KI4 GED.
Is there anybody in the group that's interested in doing net control next Thursday? This is net control, November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel. Come in.
KO4 EFS, I'm available next week.
Response, I'll take it again. W8KZT.
W8KZT, if you take it next week and nobody steps up, I'll take it the following week. How's that?
Roger that.
Did you guys not hear Ian?
Thank you, Charles. Moving on, KO4 EFS. Number one question, how about a Bofang update? You've got the microphone, Ian. Go.
Yeah, I'm wattage challenged right now. Unfortunately, I'm only at 25 watts because my 50-watt radio is out. I'm working on it. So that's why I think if anybody's having a hard time hearing me, I'm still at the 40-foot mark. Same antenna, but I'm at 25 watts instead of 50. So that might be, if there's a reason you're not hearing me. I tried to write everything down here. As far as the UV5RM, no. I've had an issue programming it, and it's so new that the chirp programming is still a little flaky. And so I'm still in the middle of testing it. I am not going to give a review until I've had a chance to test it. This is the second time I've been sent something so new that it's not even really out yet. But it is on Amazon. You can buy the 5RM with GPS, like the one I have here, on there. I found them for $25, so amazing price. And let's see, let me run down my list real quick. POTA, yes. Any state I'm in, I do POTA. I'm going to be going back up on vacation, just my wife and I, and I'm going to be taking an HF radio with me, and we're going to be doing a lot of POTA, all up through Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. I love it. The next thing, the swap shop, I'll be there. If I haven't met you guys, come up and say something. I'll be out there. Logbook, yes, I've been keeping a logbook since day one. I guess retired from the fire service. Keeping a logbook was kind of second nature, but anyway, I got 25,000 contacts, 166 countries, and I've got 11 countries in Africa. I've got a couple thousand phone. A lot of it's FT8. I will tell you guys, lately what I've been doing on the logbook is 2-meter contacts. I think I told you guys last week I've been doing a lot of 2-meter contacts. Anytime I see the Tropo running, I start calling out on the 5.2, and it's been a lot of fun. So that's kind of been something I've been doing with that. And finally, you were asking me about YouTube stats, and I just went and pulled a few stats here. the stats vary. These live nets are getting anywhere from 40 to 100 views over the first week after they're released, including live viewers. But like I've got a video on the UV25, which is that new big huge radio that Bofane came out with. It's got, I think, 25,000 views on it. So much so that Bofane is now mailing me radios to try out. So, it depends on what it is. If it's like negative on the ARRL or something, I get quite a few. If it's, I released one that was really good about youth participation and stuff, and that one's doing well. It's got thousands of views. So it's one of those things, ham radio is not that big of a market on YouTube, but it's getting bigger. And I'm trying to get YouTube in front of people that aren't ham radio people. So that's kind of the whole idea. I've been doing YouTube now about 5 years, so it's taken a long time to get where I'm at. I'm coming up on 7,000 subscribers. KO4 EFS.
KO4 EFS. I agree. I mean, I've been on YouTube, but I don't really do any, I'm not trying to monetize it or anything like that. But I'm a photographer on the side and more of a professional amateur. And my Instagram page has 109,000 followers. And Instagram is not equivalent to YouTube, but I really appreciate that you're putting this out there. I really appreciate that you're providing the education, both on the products, the newer products, and the hobby. And with that, I commend you, Ian. Moving on. KB4, ARL, Angelo. I'm going to need W8 KZT, but Angelo, you've got the microphone.
Okay, Angelo, if you copy, you're up there, buddy.
Good evening again, KD4AR. Swap Shop, yeah, I'm going to try and make it this weekend. Hope to see everybody there. And just want to add, one of my favorite things to do on HF is I like to chase the island contacts if I can find them. And I've picked up a few interesting places like the French Polynesia, Marquesas Islands, Guadalcanal, and Cape Verde off of Africa, and a lot of the Caribbean small islands like St. Lucia and Bonaire and a few other places. So, and POTA, yeah, I've got a POTA set up. It works. I've set it up here at the house, but I haven't done any POTA yet. So one of these days I'll find the time and go do it. So anyways, I'll turn it back to Ned, KB4AR.
Roger that, Ian. John, what Angelo was saying is that he definitely will get down to Swap Shop and definitely be able to meet everybody there. And as far as HF, he's mostly trying to get island contacts, French Polynesian, and some of the Caribbeans and some of them that he mentioned there. But also he has a POTA set up, but he's not yet went out and worked it. So I guess he's tried it out and everything. Guess it works, but he's not went out to any of the parks yet and activated. So that's where he's at right now, and hope he sees everybody at the Swap Shop. So back to you, John.
Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that he's going to get out there. I appreciate that he's going to Swap Shop. I hope to be at Swap Shop also. Moving on, we have the birthday boy, man, ham radio operator, whatever you want to call it, but it's his birthday tomorrow, so that'll be KA9TQC. Jack, it's the birthday boy. You're up.
Okay, thanks. And the 5 a.m. calls won't be useful, but as late as I'm going to be hitting the hay tonight, I don't think I'll be conscious at that hour. But I, especially in lieu of the YouTube gentleman who's recording this, I got to share one interesting story. My most memorable ham radio contact. I've been licensed since about the mid '80s, and used to have a Wilson System 40 antenna that was actually bigger than our house. I had to cut a bunch of trees down so I could swing that thing. And on top of a 50-foot tower in northern Wisconsin in a town of 500 people where we used to live. And I was listening on 20 meters back in the day, and I heard a mayday call from a sailboat that was sinking off the coast of Belize. And I actually relayed the message to the U.S. Naval station at Norfolk, who got in touch with Belize Air Rescue. And Belize Air Rescue had one fixed-wing aircraft and one helicopter. So they sent the fixed-wing aircraft out to find this guy who was right at the edge of the range of the helicopter. And then they knew where to send the helicopter, so they sent the helicopter out and they lifted the guy off the boat. The boat was lost, but his family was saved. And I'll tell you, that was the most powerful impact on me of amateur radio, because, you know, I mean, I'm sitting up there in frozen Wisconsin, and this guy is sinking, and I used to live on a sailboat. We started out here. I used to do a fair amount of maritime mobile operations, so I'm very happy to be on a sailboat in general, but boy, to have been part of that rescue operation just remotely, it was just amazing. So absolutely delightful listening to all the different perspectives. I'm just amazed. Probably won't make Swap Shop because our daughter and 3 granddaughters are going to be here starting late tonight, so it doesn't win me any brownie points to go do ham radio stuff when the kids are here, but I like to go to Swap Shop in general, so I hope to see some of you guys there. And again, thoroughly enjoyed this tonight, so thank you so much. And back to Net Control, KA9TQC.
KA9TQC. Jack, I have a question. When you were copying this distress call from the sailboat down in Belize, did they follow? Did Air Sea Rescue or the Navy or whatever follow up with you and tell you what transpired, or were you able to hear any of the rescue on the radio? Back to you, sir.
Well, I was able to hear the initial contact between the naval radio station and Belize, and then they switched to other means of communication, probably telephone or whatever, maybe dedicated military frequencies. But I vaguely remember being out of the ham bands with some trepidation, but given the state of emergency, I think that was okay. I wish I could remember more of the details, but astonishingly, once I was sharing that story, and a guy came on one of the nets, HF net, and he said he remembered listening to it live. So that blew me away. Back to you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the hearing the successes and the rescue side of radio communication. I've listened to some of the broadcasts that came out of North Carolina during the rescue after the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, and it just amazes me. And but I mean, it's something to be very proud of, definitely. With that, we're going to move up to, let's see, we have W4BTJ. Tim, you have the microphone, sir.
Tim, did you copy that? W4BTJ, you're up.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you again there. Yeah, and happy birthday, Jack. 74th tomorrow, March 7th. Congratulate you there. My wife's birthday is tomorrow as well, so but she's going to be a spry 75, so she's looking forward to the big birthday. And I, unfortunately, with the birthday and everything going on, and just won't be able to make Swap Shop this weekend, but maybe the next one. Yeah, we got so many plans and gatherings and festivities going on, and just can't quite do it. Jack, I just saw you KA9TQC. Yeah, you're good luck there. UN7BI in Kazakhstan is on there as well right now. But there's a lot of good stations on FT8 tonight, and it's really rolling well. Yeah, if you want to get on there, Rick, give her a whirl. But yeah, it is amazing what you can do on FT8 and Whisper and a number of other digital sites there and functions you can run. Along with I run Fusion Radio. Of course, that's computer, and really you can talk anywhere around the world on that. And I never log my UHF, VHF contacts. So, those, they're so easy to make, especially if you're using Fusion or any digital. It's a little different than having to send an HF signal out. Actually, no matter what, it has to be picked up. A lot of people dog it because they think, oh, you got to use a computer. You're using a computer to log it, but your signal still must get there. If you're only using 25 watts or 20 watts, whatever, it's got to go a long ways, and it's still got to be received. So with that, I'll turn back to control, W4BTJ.
Roger that, Tim. John, what Tim went through here is that he was mentioning to have a happy birthday to Jack, and also tomorrow is Tim's wife's birthday, so happy birthday, and hopefully that goes great. And he's going to be pretty busy, so won't be able to meet at the swap shop. But he was explaining, the FT8 radio's got to do all the contacting. Just the computer logs the information and displays all the information on what's going on. Says he never logs any of his contacts on that. He only uses 20 to 25 watts on the radio to get all these massive contacts all the way around the world. So that pretty much wraps it up. Tim, is there anything further that I missed, possibly?
No, thank you for the relay to John and control there, and I really appreciate it. I'll be monitoring and listening by the frequency, W4BTJ.
Roger that. We'll definitely tell Sandy happy birthday from us, and hopefully we'll be seeing you soon. And back to you, John, W8KZT, for the relay.
Hey, appreciate your relaying W8KZT, and I was able to hear some of Tim's broadcast there, and I appreciate his participation into the net. I know Ed said he was going to go 73, so I'll just give him a simple call and see if he comes up. If not, we'll wrap up the net here, but stand by one, and it'll be Whiskey 4, Echo Juliet Whiskey. Ed, I know you said you went 73s, but if you have anything you'd like to say, you can come now, sir. Okay, nothing heard. I'm going to see if there's any extremely late check-ins and see if there's anybody that wants to add anything to the net and or make a final comment, and if anybody does, come now.
Comment?
Go ahead, Whiskey 8 Kilo Juliet Whiskey, or Tango, sorry.
Yep, this is W8KZT. Just want to say thanks to John for running the nets this evening, and I'll probably be taking the helm next week. And I certainly would appreciate all the participation as was happening this week. So be looking forward to talking to everybody next week. And this is W8KZT, and good evening to everyone.
Okay, if there's nothing else heard, thanks to everyone for checking in tonight. We had a very big net, a lot of participation, and I want to thank everybody for supporting the Cape Coral Gabfest. It's been a pleasure hearing everyone, and I wish everyone a safe and healthy week, and hope to hear you all next week. 73s, everybody, from November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel, and this frequency is returned to normal ham radio operation. 73.